Well, thank you very much. It's my honor being here all together, and I would like to appreciate the previous speaker about his positive approach. That's also the way we are approaching life, and I hope that I can convince you today about ways how to solve issues for probably 9 billion people. I would like to take you on a journey, which is my personal journey. I graduated at the Business Administration College at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam, and I applied for my first job, which was selling canned meat in Africa. I literally took a suitcase filled with canned meat, hot dogs, sausages, and all kind of others, and I've been selling them, distributing them all over the African continent for 5 years, making a good money for a private investor who was the owner of the company. He made his money, and we were trying to make money on the back of those people on the African continent. I got connected, I got committed, but I realized that this approach was not going to sustain and realize a suitable economy for them, but it was only good for the people in Holland. So I changed, after all, my position. I started working for an organization distributing essential medicines to improve the quality of life for many people. Essential medicines are medicines that we can buy at the Vrijthof or the DA drugstore nowadays, like paracetamol or others. And also in some pharmacies you will find some generic medicines. Very affordable. Imagine, you can buy a jar of paracetamol, 1,000 pieces for less than $3. So medicines are in principle very much affordable, but the problem is they don't reach the majority of the population. And that's why I changed my position. I started working distributing those medicines. We were supplying to international NGOs, Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders. We were supplying to the local governments who were buying the majority of the medicines for the population. Because imagine, in Bamako in 1987, it has been decided that in developing countries, the government is responsible for the distribution of medicines to the majority of the population. 80 to 90% is in their hands. But in practice, we are realizing that due to incompetence, due to the intransparency, due to the lack of willingness to solve issues, probably 20-25% of the population gets access to those medicines through the government. International NGOs are doing their utmost best to solve the issue, but they might be, with a lot of effort, solve 5% on top. So instead of 80 to 90%, only 30% of the population on average in developing countries gets access to medicines. The remaining part is dependent on a market which is distributing expensive medicines, not affordable for people, or very poor quality, fake and substandard medicines through a private market that is completely out of control. I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just stating facts. The director of the National Registration Authority Board of Nigeria mentioned it's more affordable to sell a tablet with starch, aardappelpoeder, than to smuggle drugs from South America to Europe. Because you sell something that doesn't have a price, you can sell it for a very high price because there is scarcity all over. We saw that, and we were thinking, because I'm talking also on behalf of my colleague who was working with me by then, that we were carrying, as we say in Dutch, water to the ocean. And we didn't solve things. We were supplying something and we were just in a system that was not solving the issue. Not today, and when we know the growth of population, in the future it's going to be even more difficult. In practice, I visited the city of Manila, the capital of the Philippines, and there my life changed. I found there an entrepreneur that started distributing essential medicines through a chain of pharmacies. He started finding entrepreneurs who are having their own shop, taking the responsibility to sell a good value for money medicines. He started in 2007 and he built up over 1,200 pharmacies in 5 years. And I was amazed. I haven't been sleeping for 3 days. I couldn't stop singing because I found the model that could change the world in a way that we could distribute medicines. And now we are realizing much more through a system that is sustainable, that can solve, that can reach a lot of people without being dependent on international funding, without being dependent on all kind of intransparency. Just let the market perform. As we have seen In the Western world too, where the market has taken over a lot of responsibilities, we have increased the quality of life. We have increased the quality for many people. And of course we can complain because it's still not perfect and there are always issues to be discussed about. But in comparison with, knowing the rates in Holland in comparison with what we have been finding in Africa, we're doing much better. What we decided, what we did, we started our own initiative. We are now creating franchises, selling essential medicines, very much affordable. As I explained, the medicines are available, they can be easily bought for a very good value for money in China or India. The same quality as we're using here, bringing them in Eastern Congo, a post-war area, Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Haiti, other countries, where we are recruiting people. They make an investment, in total $500. They get an investment on their own of 25%. The remaining part is initially a loan they will pay back within 9 to 12 months. After they've paid back, they're the owner of their own shop and they keep on being supplied every 2 weeks by us. We're making sure that the supply chain is full, the products are available continuously, and from that point of view, we are creating a system that is sustainable. For the financial part, we are not dependent on the international funding, on the international decisions on high level where the money is available. No, there are private investors who can just invest in goods put in safe warehouses, distributed with a limited risk, and especially those investors who are willing to have a certain social benefit, they will still get some revenue on their money, and in the meantime they can finance a solution for many people. We have been in touch with the founder of the Grameen Bank, which is the first microfinancing bank in Bangladesh, who got the Nobel Prize of Peace in 2007 or 6. He compared the model we are applying with the model of the cow. They were initiating in the 80s. They were having an issue of the lack of availability of milk. They had to solve it. So what they did, they lended or they gave partly away cows. People buying a cow, investing 10 to 15% of the cow, having 2 years to pay back the price of the cow by selling the milk they got every day. They were looking after the cow, they were responsible, they were looking after the way they were solving it. And he says, we have solved the social issue, we have created a lot of jobs, a lot of economy. And he says, the model you're applying, the model you're developing, it's very comparable. It's solving through a sound commercial business model, because the entrepreneur makes his own money, his own living for himself, for his kids, for his family. And in the meantime, he's solving a social issue, because people on the ground, they can choose now whether they will buy our medicines, which are just as expensive as the medicines they can get through this uncontrolled private market, or which they cannot find in any public facility, and they are therewith all responding positively. We are having a number of pharmacies at the moment, and everyone who has been there is recognizing there's a significant difference in quality of the products we are supplying in comparison with what they have found before. Remarkably enough, we learned, as we are starting this initiative, while flying home, sitting next to a professor from the University of Wageningen, that at the university they're having over 2,700 solutions in all different directions where they can solve on agricultural level issues on the African continent. They have discovered it, they have developed it, but they're having an issue because they need to inform people, and people are not willing to receive information. They have to distribute the fertilizers and the new developed seeds. They don't reach the people. So we were talking and I was explaining our model, and he realized that us, because we are also adding a tablet to the franchisee who can also provide awareness material, is able to provide information, to explain people and to organize distribution of not only essential medicines, but all kind of other products. So we have started the project where we are going to take the top 3 best solutions they have developed for the area we are active currently, and we are going to supply also agricultural improvements. Imagine, they found a fertilizer that can double the outcome of a bean plant, and it can be just increasing the access to food for people with a very small invention. We are having people on the ground, local entrepreneurs who can explain. We can train them. They can provide with awareness movies how to work. They can provide with explanations all information needed to convince people, and they will bring the product at the doorstep. Imagine, we are working in the eastern part of Congo. Solar lights, widely available around the globe, are not reaching this area. People are still sitting at home trying to learn, risking all kind of eye infections and whatsoever because of the lack of light. We are bringing it to them and we are explaining them how to use it. And for $1 or $2 we are able to solve this issue. This market hasn't been respected, hasn't been taken care of, and with this social franchise, or with this franchise model we are developing, we are able to bring all kinds of products to people, not being dependent on international expensive organizations, but just by mobilizing and motivating people. I quote, we are 70 to 80% less expensive, more effective than all the international programs who are having all kind of bureaucracy, huge cars, trucks going around, having people with their own interest, instead of being working on the real true objective. And we hope that for the next, 25, 30 or 50 years, we are talking about 2050, that for those 9 billion people we are able to significantly contribute to the improvement of quality of life of all those people. And it's done by the people and it is done for the people themselves. And it's a way that the dependency is just broken through. And this is a way how I believe that we are able to increase the quality of life for many people and solve all kinds of problems with all knowledge we have together. And I would like to use the platform to use brains from everyone, because there is so much different information available, and I hope that we, with positive examples, could break through the poor examples of people taking the benefit and taking the max for themselves out of all kind of money, but just try to invest as a positive approach to the quality of those people. It's not expensive and the impact is high.
Thank you very much, Joost!